Oh, the 50s. The
Yeah.
50s. I mean, we're gonna make a really hard liberal movie about how bad we were to Japanese people and not have one Japanese person in the movie. Oh, the 50s. And we're gonna have one woman in the movie and she gets killed.
Of course. Of
That's the
course.
50s for you.
Welcome to Season 3 of Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Clif and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest. Pondo Sinatra goes to Black Rock and is very disappointed because there is only one woman there and she's mean, will not be seen this week, so we may bring you the following property claim.
And she's mean.
Yeah, he'd be very disappointed showing up there.
Yes.
And Pondo just fell off the turnip truck in Black Rock, and you are not having sex here, sir.
Never.
You
with
went,
anyone.
You went from the sexualized movie to the movie that has no sex going on anywhere that I can tell.
No.
It's Talking Pondo. We're back once again. I'm
That's right.
Marty Catola.
I'm Clif Campbell.
And we're talking about two more films this week. Two more films that probably couldn't be more separate from each other, but boy, was it nice to have two kind of short movies for a change. It was
Right.
Bad Day at Black Rock from 1955. Wow, that movie's 83 years old?
73?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking of that Abbott and Costello movie I was watching last
71.
night. That's
71.
The 83-year-old
Yeah.
movie.
71.
This movie's still getting up there, like 70.
Yeah.
It's 70.
Yeah.
And then also going back to 1983 again, because we just can't seem to get away from that year. It's the origin of Pondo itself, the party animal.
This was a long time coming. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited about it. I think I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
And I have some notes, and I need to grab those while you
do some
viewer mail.
So a year ago, approximately, the first show of last year was My Chauffeur, which is another movie from the director of The Party Animal. So I figured, hey, let's pull another one of his movies out to start the year. But let's go into the viewer mail here. We got a big chunk this time, people. It's nice to see more engagement happen, from week to week.
Sweet.
You never know what movies are going to get people's attention. And
rest assured, we're gonna reply.
Yeah, we had a variety of them. In no particular order. My cousin Vinny got a little feedback.
Oh, okay.
So, long-time listeners. So yeah, I got to start saying listener mail. It's not viewer mail. Nobody's watching this. They're listening to it.
You don't want to see us.
It's listener mail. Well, I watch on YouTube. Okay, we're not getting into semantics this week. It's my cousin Vinny, Truth, Justice, in the Gambini Way. And longtime listeners remember Ray Daniel from Call Me Crazy Show and all of our old public access stuff. And more recently, the GMR podcast. He writes in. He comes out of obscurity to write in about My Cousin Vinny, and he says, I have never seen this movie in its entirety. That's funny because that's what I said too.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those movies you catch at the beginning and you get dragged away from on cable, or you catch with 45 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
So hopefully
What's
it
up, Ray?
got him to glad you're listening. Hopefully it gets him to maybe sit down and watch My Cousin Vinny. And if you're watching it with the family, get that TV cut.
Get that TV cut. Get that cable cut. Yes. But either way, watch it. It's a good movie. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And then The Last Waltz got some significant feedback. Joe Palmer writes in.
Okay.
From our Talking Mathel episode a few weeks
right.
ago, Joe joined us. And he says, "Ooh, my favorite part of Thanksgiving. I hope you played it loud." It says in the beginning there.
Joe and I do not agree on this movie at all.
I know he's a classic rock fan, and it's funny because you said you were gonna get some shit about this.
Yep.
And so Ray wrote in about The Last Waltz as well, uh, some of his thoughts were like he thought it was quite possibly the best music documentary.
It's definitely up there. Yeah.
And did the band have too many egos? But of course, that's the magic.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he also wrote me privately about it, The Last Waltz, and went off quite a bit. Mostly
Oh, I thought
about
he was going to go
the
off on me.
no, but more like he liked the movie, and
uh,
he was kind of surprised that you didn't like it. Was one of the
I,
things, you know.
it's
And I
guys,
told him, well, it's a taste of the music
it's,
thing,
it's,
you know.
it's like, I told you, Marty, it's like that when you say, I'm in the Brown times again, I'm in the hospital
Mm-hmm.
waiting. And that's what that film does for me. I just don't, something I am associating from my past that is probably even in my subconscious at this point, just makes my skin crawl when I
Mm-hmm.
hear that music.
And he writes, the fact that the band don't talk about their drug use is endearing in a sense of who hasn't in one point of their lives were fooling themselves. So it's like, oh, I can see that aspect. What do you mean? We're not on drugs. No. Yes,
No.
yes, you
Yes, you are. Every one of you are. Cocaine sugar booger.
And then let's go a little bit further back to our Star Wars episode. And
Oh.
it's kind of neat now because just yesterday, as of this recording, it was announced that the original untouched Star Wars is coming back to theaters for its 50th
Yes.
anniversary. And all the people online are just going completely ridiculous about it. And
Yes.
I saw, as to slightly digress, I saw a video the other day about things after you're 50 years old you shouldn't waste time on doing. And
Mhm.
one part of it really stuck with me, and that was the engagement with people about arguing about things online. It is fun because in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, they say the internet, it's there to argue about movies, right?
Right.
But you get to a point where you realize, like the guy in this video said, they're not interested in the truth. They just want to win or argue. And it's like, oh, yeah. So even if I see the most ridiculous statement about, are they going to put Jabba back in? Well, obviously it's not. It's the original. You just have to see Mad Max in your head going, that's bait, and just roll along. So my New Year's resolution before the year has even started is to implement less of interacting with that type of nonsense. But the fact that Star Wars is coming back out again has made people just go completely insane online. But from what I can tell, it's going to be that original version without any of the bullshit. And I've been seeing a lot more comments about he didn't want to pay his ex-wife. That's why
Mm,
these cuts
yeah.
went away. And I hadn't seen anybody talking about that for ages.
I
So,
saw some some of it online about it, and they were basically trying to pull, it's what happens with nerds. And I love you guys. But you begin to think that because you have some sort of finer detailed knowledge over something that you're somehow right in a way. I know facts are facts and so on, but you don't know what he's releasing until he tells you what he's releasing. You don't know what Disney's going to put out, right? Yes, there's a 97 cut. Yes, there's the cut with no A New Hope on it, which came out after Empire. I think it was either Empire or Jedi, one of the two. When he started to number them and all that type of shit. We all know this, guys, but we don't know which one. You may get a mix. He may just mess with you. There's no telling, right? But if it says original, I'm willing to bet it's the one from '77.
that's supposed to be the whole big
And
deal.
if it is, then great, because I'm going.
Yeah.
I
Like,
will have my tickets for that and watch this son of a bitch. Watch this son of a bitch do serious numbers.
oh, of course.
It's gonna be fucking funny. Pardon
I
my language.
witnessed an argument between two people, or at least I think they were people. They might have been bots for all I know. Dead internet theory online just yesterday, complaining about, when I saw it, it had the scene where Luke looked up in the sky and saw the ships fighting. And then the other person's like, no, that was from the storybook. And then they're like, well, then how did Marvel Comics adapt the Jabba scene if the Jabba scene wasn't in there? Because, they write those after the movie's been written. Well, no, it was because of the blah, blah. And I'm thinking, guys, there's such a thing as a screenplay. and that never came into, and I'm just like, do not comment.
Do not
Do
comment.
not
Don't
comment.
do it. Don't do it.
And I didn't. I brought it to the podcast instead so we can all laugh together about it.
There was also the motion picture adaptation, the book the book that was
that's why
adapted
people
from the
think they
motion
saw
picture.
Biggs and Tatooine is that book.
Exactly.
No, it isn't, because there's a Jabba mask on the. Okay, you're just engagement farming.
Yes.
But what wasn't engagement farming was this letter we received about Star Wars. See, I found it's like jazz. You wait for that hook and then you go out.
Yeah. Well, jazz has corners.
And then I stop and explain it.
You spirals. It's about jazz spirals. So
explaining a punchline or something.
Because we're spiraling.
Speaking of spiraling, Star Wars, buckle up. This is from Jim from over at Bravo at the B-side. He wrote us a letter about Star Trek, and now he wrote us a letter about Star Wars. I didn't want to read them both on the same episode, because that was already a long one. Hello, gentlemen. You had to know this was coming. Listen to the episode.
Yes, sir.
Love coverage on both films. Just some nerdy random bits for you. The thing I remember the most, the title, Star Wars, hitting with full orchestra. Star Wars was the first sci-fi film that did not have a studio orchestra. That's why it does not have hints of 70s music, a synthesizer, or any of the post-60s psychedelic riffs. Like the Barbarella music you enjoyed so much. When those words, he did not say the Barbarella thing, that's my addition there. When those words hit with that hard full chord ensemble, it was commanding me to pay attention, much like Cliff at the drive-in, not saying a word. I saw this opening weekend when I was 7. I saw it all summer long. There was nothing even close to this. My favorite movie until that point was Forbidden Planet, which, I think that ties into one of our movies, doesn't it?
Isn't that a nice little spiral?
Mm-hmm. Rocky Horror Picture Show. All the rest, including the Flash Gordon serials, were just go, 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 go action with snidely whiplash villains and quick plot shuffles to get to the end scene. Forbidden Planet gave us stuff to think on while watching the movie. Star Wars brought Old West action, girl in distress basics into space, and Lucas basically said, here it is, follow along. Groundbreaking. Han and Greedo. Well, Han shot first, always.
Yeah, he did, always.
And the lore that vanished in favor of Disney and others. Han Solo wore a red stripe on the side of his pants, a Carillion blood stripe, earned by being hard in hard times. Greedo threatened him at gunpoint. There is no question that Han would have taken care of that situation with minimal fuss. In Empire, Lucas turned the stripe yellow, signifying his departure from that life. Well, I don't know. I was aware of the wardrobe.
I think they're building. I think the backstory gets built around the wardrobe change, in my opinion. There, but
I'm gonna have to look for that though.
I think that's where that's the nerds going. Well, see, he has the yellow stripe now, so he's not a blood Carillion anymore. That type of thing.
I remember,
or maybe it's in a book. Yeah. Maybe it's in like a book or something. But I think that's. I would be shocked if that's actually in the screenplay. Or that was Lucas. I think that's, a lot of this lore gets built up around Lucas's original work, right? Because you get all these writers coming in and writing and adding things and putting things in. And, you have the Han Solo, the book trilogy. You have the Boba Fett book trilogy. You have Shadows of the Empire with Prince Zizor and all these different, things that are part of Star Wars lore and canon, but they're not really Lucas's. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You had the toy line. I had Han Solo and Bespin outfit. Did that have the yellow stripe? I don't have the figure anymore. I'd have to look up a picture, but I'm very curious now.
Bespin? Yeah, maybe.
Because it's a different outfit than the Han figure from the first movie. But you touched on Lucas's wife doing the editing. Without her, we would never have seen it. Scorsese and Spielberg were embarrassed to have to tell George that it was a hot mess. What they saw after her editing blew their minds. You also talked pacing. Star Wars' success, I think, was based on its fast pace and the complete abandonment of trying to explain all this weird and wacky shit and instead just pushing further along the roller coaster. I heartily agree with you on the later films, Disney era. They lack all the heart and passion that Star Wars Through Jedi had. It's painful to see how this magical franchise just fell down the tubes production after production, reducing it to a meh level series. Like everybody in Mixed Nuts. I could go on, but I will spare you. Oh, Rogue One. In spite of the nightmare production issues, it got hammered into a 70s style Star Wars. It did well
Yes.
because of that, I think.
Yep.
And Andor, the series, same thing.
Yep.
Luthen was the most powerful, enigmatic, mysterious, tragic, and sorrowful character in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I agree with
Just
that.
a man, no force, no fuss. Just a man who wants to change the nightmare they are all living in. Oh, stormtroopers. Dead on. I love the fact that they made fun of their aim in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
See, kept it short. It was an excellent episode, laughed a lot. So that was good to hear from Jim again.
Yeah, we love hearing from Jim and Danny. Big fans of the Bravo from the B-Side podcast. And if you haven't heard it, you should jump over there. They had one, oh man, it was their Sherlock Holmes episode. Oh my God, that's
Oh,
worth
that was a
a
good
listen.
one.
It's
Yeah.
the most recent Sherlock Holmes episode where they're talking about, I mean, they dissect that movie, and Danny in particular is very annoyed and pissed off, and it's quite funny. But anyway, totally worth a listen.
But this week we have some movies for you.
Yeah,
and there's some good ones.
yeah.
You know,
Might even learn a
interesting
little
is
bit.
the word I like to say.
Might even learn a little bit about us in the process.
I would hope so.
So, which one do you want to do first? You want to go Bad Day at Black Rock first, or do you want to go Party Animal first?
I want to go Bad Day at Black Rock first.
I thought so. Switching my notes over right now. Bad Day at Black Rock.
I want the M5.
I want the M5.
Okay.
You don't want that, kid.
So here's another movie that I had heard the title, didn't know what it was, thought it was like an old western with a title like that.
Same.
So what is this movie that features Anne Francis of Mazes and Monsters fame?
And Forbidden Planet.
Well, we know her most as Tom Hanks's mother in Mazes and Monsters, which we just fucking watched.
That's insane.
So I did think that was strange. Bad Day at Black Rock.
It's almost like I'm planning it, but I swear to God I'm not. Bad Day at Black Rock, 1955, approved, 1 hour 21 minutes.
Nice and short.
Yeah, really nice. Following World War II, a one-armed stranger arrives in a tiny California desert, but finds the residents hostile and protecting a terrible secret they want to keep hidden by violent means if necessary. Directed by John Sturges, written by Millard Kaufman, Don McGuire, Howard Breslin, stars Spencer Tracy, Robert Ryan, Anne Francis, and a host of others. Let's see, storyline. From the time John J. McCready steps off the train in Black Rock, he feels a chill from the local residents. The town is only a speck on the map, and few strangers ever come to the place. McCready himself is tight-lipped about the purpose of his trip, and he finds that the hotel refuses him a room, the local garage refuses to rent him a car, and the sheriff is a useless drunkard. It's apparent that the locals have something to hide, but when he finally tells them that he is there to speak to a Japanese-American farmer named Kamoko, he touches his nerves so sensitive that he will spend the next 24 hours fighting for his life.
Boy, I hope you watched the movie. I really do. Because if you're listening to this and you don't like spoilers,
yeah,
because these summaries, they like to tell you things you don't find out for a significant amount of time into the movie.
Well, and to be fair, we've told you before, we're going to spoil these movies talking about them.
I just hope that that's not written on the back of a DVD box somewhere.
Right.
That's just
no, I would assume that it's probably that top part that I read to you. Following World War II, a one-armed stranger arrives in a tiny California desert town.
So I know we've had to have seen a couple movies with people named McCready, right? Is it just me, or has this name been a character name in like 3 or 4 movies we've covered?
I would think so. I caught me off guard there. I'm honestly not sure. Yeah,
but it just seems so familiar. John Sturgis. Us Misties know him best as the director of Marooned, which was Space Travelers on Mystery Science Theater, Season 4, Episode 1. A long movie that's trimmed down so much that it starts to not make as much sense, but he holds on shots in this one, and it's still an 81-minute movie, but that one, he's really holding on shots. But that's like in the 70s. He had been making movies for a significant longer period then. But here is this nice little concise movie. 2 short ones this week. It really is appreciated. We've taken in some really long movies, and they're good, but it is nice to mix it up where you're like, I could watch both of these in a row and breezy. Mm-hmm.
So, Mac Ready is Kurt Russell's character in The Thing,
and we haven't watched that yet.
And McCready is also a character from Disney's film Superdad. I just kind of googled it here, so I'm just other than that, I don't know. Maybe it's either way. So yeah, the film. I gotta wonder what train and what line this is. The film opens with that train just barreling into the shot, and you're suddenly you're dragged along. The camera is dragged along with the train, and you see this really awesome kind of 1950s train barreling through the Southwest of California, and it's not the California that you kind of. It's not the beaches.
It's Arizona, isn't it?
It's the Southwest, but it's that border where California and Arizona and that type of stuff meet, right? Because they're still supposed to be in California. It's a California town.
Really? But I thought it was an Arizona town.
No, I mean it says a tiny California desert town in the
okay.
But I think it's really close to like Mesa, Phoenix, Tucson, which is why he mentions.
Yeah, and I think the story it was based on was probably an Arizona town.
But it's definitely southwestern, dry desert, not a lot of water, so it feels very familiar in that respect. But I was really happy to see this is an 82-minute movie and it's in CinemaScope and it's in Technicolor. Like, it's going to look great, and it does. It looks fucking great.
Yeah, you want a big curved screen that would look good.
Yeah, and those, even when they're inside in the hotel lobby and stuff like that, the backgrounds through the windows are done really well. Like those mountains and stuff really pop, and it really looks good on screen. I thought I'd really like to see a really nice, like a 4K version. This would probably look really cool. But fucking Walter Brennan, that guy's the classic. He's in one of the, I think he's in either Rio Bravo or El Dorado, the John Wayne movie. He plays that guy. Shot him with my bow, that guy. But it's I never realized Spencer was so short. Like, he walks up to one of the other actors and he's a little guy. That's some actors.
That's why it's like, why are you giving him so much shit? But well, he's gonna karate chop the fuck out of you. So
Lee Marvin and Ernie Borghi are in this. Poseidon reference there.
Yeah. So who was the first actor you ever met?
Ever? In my life, ever?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's tough. It's probably going to be I think it was at the movie theater where we worked together.
Really? It was that long?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. I don't remember having met anybody else from the movies, unless I'm just kind of blanking completely on it. But yeah, I think it would have been dude who played Furious Styles, Lawrence Fishburne. Would have probably been my first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But you had run into like musicians and stuff when you were a kid, so I guess
sure, yeah,
as when I was a kid, brushes. Yeah. But so the first actor I ever met
people like that,
was Lee Marvin.
Oh, really?
I met Lee Marvin when I was 10 years old because he lived here in Tucson. He retired here, and he would frequent the restaurant that my mom worked at, or the cafe or whatever it was. And I remember my stepdad introducing him to me. I still remember him wearing his denim jacket and being quite tall and shaking my hand. And I didn't know who he was because I'm 10 years old.
No.
And my stepdad's like, oh, this guy's been in a lot of movies, and one day you're gonna know. Basically, I'm like, oh, well, cool. It's nice to meet you and everything. And it's a trip because 2 years later, the Delta Force comes out. So if it had been 2 years later, I would have been like, you're that guy from the Delta Force of Chuck
Right.
Norris, right? But he was in that little interim. And
This
so
is
I'm
the
watching.
dude. This is the dude from fucking Dirty Dozen. This is
So I'm watching this movie and not even recognizing him because he's so young.
Yeah.
And then I go, wait a minute, that's Lee Marvin. Oh, that's a trip. And so I'm just fixating on like, I met somebody who was in a movie with Spencer Tracy.
You did.
Dude, we've been around for a long time, haven't we? We're getting up there. It just blew my mind, and it added this extra level to it. And he was tall. He was probably, I mean, you could look up his height to see exactly how tall Lee Marvin was, but I seem to remember him being above 6 foot tall, but all I really cared about at the time was the candy I had in my pocket, I think. But I still have this vivid memory of that, bright Tucson afternoon in the mid 80s. It's still very vivid of that. Another one was the second person I met was Michael Landon, because he used to do that tennis tournament out here.
Oh my God, that's
and
hilarious.
All I remember about him is he was very tan and the hair was big. And he seemed happy, but that was a very brief, because it's like, here, take your Polaroid, next type situation. Yeah. But
he was on his highway to heaven at that point.
That Lee Marvin thing always trips me out. And now the more we delve into these older films, and it's just like, holy shit, it's just weird, man. Just fucking weird how these things work out.
That's cool that you met Lee Marvin like that. That's really awesome.
Now I would have been like, That Day at Black Rock. He'd be like, how do you know that, 10-year-old kid? I'd be like, you were an asshole in that movie. He probably would have laughed at me.
So let me jump back to the movie here.
Of course. So
first off, the movie's kind of weird. Like I want to say first off, I enjoyed it. Its premise is very cool. It's like this idea of going to a small town and sort of, encountering this weird group and realizing that, something's going on, and you don't have all the pieces, and you finally get to put the pieces together and you understand it finally. I liked all that. But this is like, the long shot of this town is like 9 buildings. And I've been to small towns, and it's like, at first in this small town with 9 buildings, there's like, it seems like there's 5 people, right? But yet there's a bar and grill, and there's a garage, and there's a jail, and there's a hotel, and there's a, it's like every building has a purpose, and it's all kind of thriving in this weird small town, which, like, to me, like, when I'm used to small towns, it's usually like 3 buildings are falling over and they're abandoned. And the general store is also the mail room, and there is no fucking jail. There'd never be a sheriff in a town that freaking small. He, and if he was, he'd serve the entire county. So there's, I kind of have to suspend some of my disbelief going in with it. But I really, once you do and get into it, you start going, why are they fucking with this dude? What's wrong with everybody in this town?
Yeah, just leave him
what is
alone.
wrong with everybody?
Yeah,
just leave him alone. And he's and you also kind of go, I get that you only have one arm, but how much of this are you going to take? Because
we've seen this premise so many times since, but this has got to be one of the first ones to do it.
One of those kind of quiet men type of, because once he judo chops that guy and then kicks the crap out of him, it's awesome.
Yeah,
and I was just like, yeah, he beats the crap out of Ernie Borghi.
It
was fantastic.
The 50s. I mean, we're going to make a really hard liberal movie about how bad we were to Japanese people and not have one Japanese person in the movie. Oh, the 50s. And we're going to have one woman in the movie and she gets killed.
Of course. Of course.
That's the 50s for you.
She gets shot, boom, with a shotgun right in the chest. Like,
when we look at these decades, there's always going to be a couple of moments where it's just, that is the time, and it doesn't really detract from the movie. It's just kind of fun to find.
No, that's a perfect example of, like, if you want to know what the 50s movies are like, it's where they do the liberal movie is about how bad it was for the Japanese, yet there are no Japanese in the movie.
Japanese people. Yeah.
That's just brilliant. Oh man. So at one point when he meets the girl and so after he takes the Jeep, right? And the main bad guy who's played by who's he played by? Robert Ryan. He goes to talk to her, Anne Francis, and she's kind of doing this like, it's this weird kind of like, well, I will, but what if I don't? And I won't, but maybe I will. It's like, what? And it goes on for a good solid minute. And I almost wrote the dialogue down because it was so freaking weird and kind of silly. But it was like, well, what if I do? You won't. I could, could do it so easily. Oh, Tim, you don't know what you are talking about. Maybe I don't. Or do I? And it was just like, what in the fuck is going on? But at the same time, it kind of evens itself after that, and you get the rest of the scene. It was just I felt like I was in quicksand for a second.
The thing about this movie is it's funny that it's so regarded as super classic. It got like Oscars and nominations. And you look at it now and you go, oh, if they made this anytime in the last 20, 30 years, it wouldn't be Spencer Tracy. It'd be Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, it'd be, well, you do this
Now. It's an action movie in disguise.
Jason Statham.
Why are they fucking with that guy? But you don't expect Spencer Tracy to start karate chopping, Ernest Borgnine in one of the best parts of the movie.
Very true.
That was pretty funny.
My favorite is where he makes the Molotov cocktail out of the gas in the Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
And because I really like the fact that you would need to turn that engine over to get the fuel pump to move to pump the gas. You can't just take it out of the line, right? Yeah. So I thought that was really cool that they were doing that, and then he makes the bomb and throws it at him. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, part of the movie's really fast wrap up. But you could tell, I think it's based on like a short story that was in a magazine or something. So they don't have a whole lot of source material to work with. So that's why the movie's so short, which makes it good. But at the same time, you go, like I said, it's a Van Damme movie from the 50s. So don't expect it to be like extremely intellectual. Think of it as one of these, they fucked with the wrong guy in the wrong town, stranger, neo-Western. It's more of like a proto-action movie of the 80s than like some kind of pop boiler drama. I thought. It's fun. It's a fun movie.
I agree. I agree. It's again, you're not gonna get I don't know, some sort of realistic accuracy. It's sort of that silly 1950s sort of logic and action, but it's also a lot of fun. There's a lot of big acting in it. Watching Borgnine and Marvin kind of harass him for like 45 minutes to where you're just like, dude, are you going to do anything about this or what? Like, get off come on, man. What are you doing?
Well, it's like Kung Fu or the movies we talked about last week, Enter the Dragon, where they were fucking with Bruce Lee for so long, and he was playing that game of no game, But instead, it's like we push you until you reach the breaking point, kind of.
I like I think my favorite early line from it was, "In the name of well-adjusted manhood, get a hold of yourself." I thought that was pretty funny. And Spencer just keeping his left hand in his coat pocket, and then everybody kind of talks about how he's a cripple. Like, that's the whole sell. Like, they don't even pad the code or try to make him strap his arm in or anything. It's just tuck your arm into your pocket there and walk around and you're fine.
Oh, the
looks like you lost your arm, right?
That's at least 2 movies from the 50s we've watched where they say cripple like it ain't nothing. Because that was the times.
That was the times. Cripple. Well, I mean, that's before, there were other words that they had to use, I guess. I mean, at one point that moron and idiot, those were actual scales that doctors used to classify people based upon their level of intelligence. It's insane. The town seems to have a never-ending supply of new buildings to visit, even though there's only 9 of them. There's always some new building interior. If they're not back at the hotel, they're always at some new building going, oh, okay, well, what's this now? Oh, this is the garage. Okay, what's this? This is the jail. Okay, what's this? Oh, it's Dr. Brennan's burial parlor. Why do you need a burial parlor and a hearse in a town with 9 people. And then at the end of the movie, there's like, after they've arrested these guys and the cops are there, there's like 150 people standing in the town watching.
They all
I'm
showed
like,
up.
where have you all been?
Well, it's the Master Ninja A-Team wrap up, right?
Yeah.
Well, now you brought everybody to justice. What town are you going to next? And the reason I think that is because so many TV shows redid this type of plot. And we
Sure.
were raised on those shows.
Sure.
And then you go back to this, and it kind of lessens its impact because the sugar's been dissolved into the solution so much over the years of it being retreaded. But you can still appreciate, okay, this is one of the more origin points of
Yeah.
violent
Oh,
person comes to
that type of,
town.
yeah. Yeah.
But boy, did they do that. I mean, every bottled show where it was I go from town to town helping out somebody and then I go on, they would always do that. What are you doing in our town, stranger? And then they
Well,
hook up with the people who are getting hurt. It's not quite Seven Samurai because it's just one person, but
yeah.
sometimes it's more. It's the A-Team. It'd be 4 people, or
It's sometimes it reminds me of the spaghetti westerns too, the Call Me Trinities and the Hang 'em Highs and High Noons and things like
that's
that.
why they call this a Neo, right?
The Neo, yeah.
Because it's
So
set in 45. It's not an Old West.
right.
And yet they still have the remnants, because you got to think, well, shit, the Old West was only 50 years before then, so that's like the party animal is to right now almost.
I really enjoyed it. I love how the train brings him in, then the train takes him out. You know what I mean? And that's your movie. Bang, bang. I love that it's 82 minutes. I love that they didn't pad it. I love that there was no romance storyline. I love that Spencer Tracy wasn't. I love that Spencer Tracy wasn't trying to get into her pants. I love that we didn't have to watch her and Robert Ryan in some sort of tryst like they would have done in the 80s or 90s. No.
I mean, look, we watched Warlock, and that was very gay coded, right? And then you watch this movie, and there's only one woman in it, but there's no sexuality in this film. There's no coding of anything.
No.
That's why I said Pondo's not happy showing up in this town because nobody's getting laid here. That's probably why they're so frustrated. But yet, the numbers would say that somebody in there's in the closet amongst those characters, but it is never anything that is in a subtext or anything.
Nope.
And it's just not what this movie is. And usually when we watch these movies that it's just all dudes, well, there's more than meets the eye going on. But this isn't. No, I didn't have very many notes on this one. It's a short movie.
Yeah. Mercifully short.
Mm-hmm.
Well made. Just compact, tight, got its point across, did what it needed to do, did it really well. And it was entertaining.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
I think it got the Oscars because sometimes they give people Oscars for movies because they didn't give them Oscars for their best work, so they get it for some of their other work. One of the stories is Spencer Tracy was going to quit the production right before it started. So this had its share of issues apparently, but they still ended up making a good movie though.
Well, I mean, it won Best Actor, Best Director, or no, I'm sorry, it was nominated for Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. Yeah. And it doesn't say it won anything for those, but yeah, I liked it. I give it. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars.
All right, I give it 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
For even being 82 minutes, there were some parts towards the third act where it's like, okay, you've kind of run out of story and you're flailing to wrap it up. But I still liked it though.
I did too.
I could only be critical because unfortunately it's 2025 and I was raised watching all the things that ripped this off. So I know the story already. But this one does that story very well.
Well, and I think we've come across that On the Waterfront is another example of that, where it's just like, this movie is everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
The more you realize it, you go, oh, okay. Tootsie is got a lot of that. It's just weird how these movies are kind of everywhere. It's everywhere. That takes us to another movie that's everywhere. You just don't know it. It's in the background of your life. It's in your heart. It's in your mind. It's in your subconscious.
Background of our life. Look, if you're listening to this, it's in the background of your life.
That's right.
Whether you like it or not. It's kind of like in A Serious Man where they say, you're getting Santana Abraxas. And the guy says, I don't want Santana Abraxas. It's like, well, you're getting it anyway. Because you joined a Columbia House Record Club and you're getting an album every month until you pay us.
Santana Abraxas.
But let's go back to the era of when you could get 15 albums for a penny, but you couldn't get any of the songs that were in this kick-ass soundtrack.
That's
from
right.
Columbia House, unfortunately. You had to go to like some offbeat record store, which a 10-year-old kid is not having access to. What is this movie that I saw probably within months of meeting Lee Marvin, the party animal?
with great songs by Cutting Crew, Devo, and Haircut 100.
Well, that's Dr. Detroit. That's next
Dr.
week's
Detroit.
movie.
The Party Animal, 1984, rated R, 1 hour and 18 minutes. A farm boy arrives at college determined to lose his virginity, but has no luck with women until he discovers the secret formula to the most powerful aphrodisiac in the world and becomes the party animal.
Oh, these fucking descriptions.
This is directed by David Beard, written by David Beard and Alan C. Fox. Stars Matthew Causey, Timothy Carhart, and Jerry Jones. Let me get a storyline going here.
Jerry Jones of Dolomite fame.
Pondo Sinatra is the college boy with a problem. Women will have nothing to do with him. It's not that he was raised on a chicken farm and literally came to school on the back of a turnip truck. It's not that he is a virgin and jinxed, and every move he makes around a woman backfires. The problem is that God and heaven have set themselves against Pondo losing his virginity.
Really?
That is until Pondo discovers the secret formula to the most powerful aphrodisiac in the world and becomes the party animal.
Someone's projecting IMDb. Well, I mean, look, you can interpret it that way, but it never comes out and says it. See, what I thought you were going to say is he's got a problem with his pecker, because that is the problem they say in the movie.
The tagline is a chemical reaction. The tagline is
going to get him some action.
A chemical reaction got him some action.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because I've noticed there's various poster art for this film. There's the original theatrical one that I saw in the video stars back in '85, where it's the guy holding the door back.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one I'm familiar with too.
Yeah, the UK one where it's Pondo with the mohawk in between a butt and a pair of boobs.
Yes, I remember that one.
And I actually have that poster. I got it from somebody in the UK, so it was an actual. And then there's the. It was actually hung in the theaters. It was just crazy to think. And there's a Canadian version where it's like Pondo is very small and he's on a chain and there's all these legs and he's like looking up.
That's the one that's on IMDb. That's the one that's displayed on IMDb right now.
Yeah, that's the Canadian one. And then when they put it on DVD, it's the picture of like the Pondo head amidst all those like balloons,
the legs,
and shit.
And the balloons,
which kind of looks like the shot when they're all chasing him out of the classroom when he looks back, kind of like ah. But anyway, this movie is about a character named Pondo Sinatra. Now, you might have noticed that this show is called Talking Pondo. Well, not every week do we talk about Pondo Sinatra. We never talk about him at all. Matter of fact, I watched this movie again, and I kept laughing to myself every time I said Pondo, because I think of our company, because we've had the name so long. But why did you name your company Pondo? Well, back in the day, we used to rent virtually everything. Apparently, we didn't rent Bad Day at Black Rock. I had never seen that before. Had you ever seen that before? Bad Day at Black Rock?
No, I hadn't. But I think, especially back then, during the Dukes video days, when you and I were kids, when we were finally, there's a point when we were finally allowed to go to the video store on our own, because your parents would take you to the video store when you were 12 and 13. But when you hit about 14 or 15, I was allowed to just go to the video store, and I had money, and I would bring home tapes that I wasn't supposed to be watching.
Yeah, I was going to say we were more interested in renting trash. Like
and so we were more interested, and especially if there was some nudity in it, that was a big part of it too. But there was also just like, I love those kind of stupid Crown International pictures, the jocks and the silly, things like that. And I think that stuff is kind of ridiculously dumb. And it was the stuff that I used to giggle my ass off to in the middle of the night when I was a kid and staying up late watching cable. So, I have a lot of affection for those type of movies, but I also understand that, people today probably think they're pretty goddamn dumb. And I agree. They are.
Well, this one's always been dumb. That was kind of the appeal of, and the fact that it came out in like 83, 84, whatever the year was, it was kind of the end of that cycle of the Golden Porky's ripoffs. So in a
Right.
way, this one's
Right.
almost like a spoof of those type of movies, because the way it has that airplane humor throughout. Like, is this an intentional making fun?
It's definitely not true. Yeah, it's definitely almost like a fairy tale in a weird way.
Yeah, it's fantasy. Even
Yeah,
it's listed as comedy / fantasy on Plex.
that makes sense.
And I think the nature of it, where you go, I can't tell if it's a complete spoof or not, is because David Beard had a theater background, the director of this movie, and so I think that gives that kind of that extra grounding to even as little of the characters that we have, but also the interesting thing about David Beard is it seemed like his mission statement, because I've watched a bunch of his movies, not all of them, but most all, It Takes Two, My Chauffeur, Pass the Ammo, there's a handful of others, but he's usually showing the folly of men and women's relationships. And in this movie, I feel like this was the ultimate version of him pointing out just how ridiculous all genders are in their approach to hooking up. And
Well, and in particular, I feel like you're right that he sort of. I think you're right. He kind of leans into this idea of like that sex comedy, like Losing It, which I think comes out right around the same time, is kind of ridiculous. Like he's doing it, but he's also sort of mocking the formula at the same
Right.
time, right? Where he's like, all right, here, because I mean, I've got notes about that shit, but like it's almost formulaic the way he's doing it, where he's like, okay, it's almost like he's hitting a stopwatch and going, click, time for tits, go. Click, tits are over, go. It's ridiculous. It's insane. Time for music montage, click.
Well,
okay, music montage over, click.
There's no
It's
fewer than
amazing.
there's no fewer than like 18
It's like
montages in this.
it's unfucking believable how many. I stopped counting.
Yeah,
It's
I did
unbelievable.
too.
I never noticed it until now how many fucking montages are in
Half
this
the
movie. It's literally like half the movie.
And the really interesting thing about it is, who is the third unit director of photography on this film?
Peter Deming.
That's who
Peter
was
Deming.
shooting all of those fucking montages, I bet you, because that's the third unit stuff, right? The shot where the woman's jogging down the stairs in slow motion for 45 fucking seconds, the most unnecessary shot in the movie. It's that type of stuff, right? I bet you he was the one who shot it. And it all has kind of an artistic
It
music
makes sense.
video style.
That makes sense. That's hilarious.
Even the sleazy stuff is shot in a really artistic manner, which sets it a little bit apart from, the others. It's funny that you say the thing about the nudity. This movie's kind of quaint when you look at it today. It used to seem harsh, but you realize now that, okay, well, let's just start at the beginning here.
I'll give you a second to gather your thoughts.
2 minutes in. No, 6 minutes in. This movie has the most obscene male stripper sequence I have ever seen in a movie. It goes on for 2 solid minutes, and it's the third montage in the film. Now take that in for a second.
Okay, so I'm not okay, good, because I'm not the only person who timed it. That's good.
I timed a lot of things in this.
2.5 minute male strip scene. David's on screen. Mea culpa into the women in the audience. Like, oh my, it's literally David Beard's apology to all the women who got dragged to this freaking movie. He's like, look, here's something for you. And I swear to God, there was literally, I have another note that's just, what does it say? It says, okay, time to cut to our strip joint B-roll footage. Which one do you want, David? Men's or women's? Surprise me. Like, he doesn't, because that male strip scene could be anywhere and he could have put something else in its place. It's just wild.
I thought about it. If you place that scene later in the movie, it's really gonna fucking drag, right?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Because Pondo's already upped all of his, every time he tries to go on a date, it's more absurd than the last. And so this is still that early on.
It would have worked right around the time that they do that other workout montage where
Well,
the
I was
dudes are
coming
all
to that too.
bench pressing the girls.
Because that's 16 minutes into the movie. We're getting a reprise of the guys without shirts on. The 5th montage of the film, still no nudity. See, we always would think
Oh,
that this
still no
movie has a
nudity.
shit ton of nudity in it.
It
But no
does.
nudity happens until almost a half hour in the film. And it's one really long strip poker sequence. And then there's no more nudity until the very end. It's kind of brief when Pondo finally gets laid, spoiler. And then when he's having that other montage where he's hooking up. But you think it's just tits through the whole movie, but it's really not. I think Porky's has more. And this focuses on the
Yeah.
male nudity
It's not.
or
It's
body
definitely not.
more because it's
Yeah.
the 80s. Because the 80s always
Yeah.
have a bunch of greased up dudes in the film. When you look
Yeah.
back, it's like Top Gun and everything else. So it's
Police
almost
Academy.
quaint compared to today's standards.
Bachelor Party. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you
You're
got to
right,
have a stripper sequence in your 80s movie, a Chippendales thing. This one just decides to bring it to you 2 minutes into the film.
Well, and I think
or 6 minutes into the film.
It's they special thanks
we
to
haven't
Mr.
even met the characters yet, and we're in the Chippendale scene.
Yeah, they special thanks to Mr. Filthy McNasty in
They
the
hired
credits,
strippers, didn't they?
And he owned a strip club called FM, and you'll see one of the girls in the film is wearing a shirt called FM. They're strippers, and I mean, no judgment on that, but that's how he got. I think that's how he got the men and the women in the movie.
But it's kind of like,
and you also notice that those scenes are almost all exclusively. I think a few of the strippers made it into like the other nudity scenes, but they're exclusively not in anything else in the movie. They're completely removed, and everything else is shot like the actual Pondo Sinatra story at college. It's
the
really,
actual actors do not get nude.
No, they don't get anywhere near that
part.
No, not at all, except for maybe Studley, and that's just in his
and
shorts or something.
The woman that Pondo first hooks up with, but that's so brief. But still.
Yes.
But yeah, you think it's just going to be all, but it's throughout the whole movie is nothing but nudity. And it's like, no, it's actually spread out. There's an equal amount. And it does, like you said, the timing aspect of it, it does kind of follow a pseudo Roger Corman method of his crude thing was of the, you have the boobs at like 20 minutes and then like an hour and then like an hour and 20. But see, this one does the male thing instead for the first chunk and then settles into the strip poker sequence and then goes back to, virtually just a bunch of dumb jokes is what this movie really is. I looked at it now and was like, oh, I'm not near. There was times where I was like, why did we name the company Pondo? This movie's so ridiculous. But then you look back at it and you go, this movie's really not that bad compared to some other things. Some of the American Pie sequels are way more crude than this.
It's just kind of
dumb, right?
It's not that it's got
raunchy,
more breast.
A little raunchy.
It's raunchier. That's what I was going to say. It's not that it's got more breasts. It's not that it's got full frontal nudity. It's not that it's got all that stuff. It's just there's a level of
frontal. There's no bush in this film.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, I don't think so. And it's just like the level. It's like the level of raunch is really turned up. It reminds me of when the MPAA gave Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer an NC-17, and everybody's like, "Why? There's very little cursing in it. And there's very little nudity. What are you talking about?" They were like, "Tone. Mm-hmm. We just don't like the tone of the film." And Party Animals' tone is just kind of dirty. It's even like Hard Bodies has kind of like a likable sort of tone to it, and where the Party Animals just kind of like this ridiculous raunch fest. So I think that's maybe why people
at the time it was
when they think about it or talk about it or remember it, they have that because, like you said, you're right with the nudity. It's not at the level of like Hard Bodies or Porky's or something like that. But yet it does, I think, have a reputation where it's like, oh, that raunchy movie, that dirty movie.
All right. So why did we call the company Pondo? Because it was always, well, if this got made,
anything can get made.
But when you're 15, you don't realize this got made because it has tits in it.
Yep. Very true.
It's just true. It's true. Well, and that's how these type of movies were made. But still, would not come back to this movie over and over again if it wasn't because I thought it was funny and didn't have the soundtrack. If it didn't have those songs in it, it would be like half as watchable, I think. It enhances it.
It has a very kind of stupid charm in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it because it is an offensive raunchy movie. Like at one point he's kissing that girl on her ankles and then upper legs, and then he's trying to spread her legs at the knees, and but yet his stupid comical face gets me laughing, where he's just making these fucking faces, and
it's a farce,
and she says, "I'm not that kind of girl," and he's like, "Yes, you are," and I'm just like, "Oh my God,"
like, no, I'm not.
No, you're not. And
he's trying to roofie chicks.
He's trying to roofie chicks. Yeah.
And you go, oh fuck! But then he roofies himself, and then the movie turns into Perfume, right? And then everybody just kind of destroys him because he has the magical.
He has too much of the power.
We could have called ourselves Midas Productions.
There you go.
Because it's kind of the same thing. Everything I touch turns to poontang is the line in the film.
It's I think one of my favorite bits, the one that made me really laugh out loud, was where he goes to get the Italian girl on the date and he immediately blows that party favor in her face, and she opens her mouth and he shoves the pill down it, and then massages her throat like she's a dog to make her swallow the pill.
She's into it.
Oh my God. And yet she gets into the car and she's like, "Oh, okay, let's go out." And I was just like, my God, this fucking movie is ridiculous.
Everybody's an NPC.
The movie also does the old MasterCard interview trick. You remember that? Where you put the person slightly facing at an angle away from the camera, like they're talking to somebody.
It's a mock documentary.
Yeah, so might light them in a dark room, put the single spotlight on them, and then you've got your MasterCard commercial. I was in so-and-so when I couldn't find blah, 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 but I had my MasterCard.
Well, it's just a documentary.
Well, MasterCard had a whole series of commercials that really had that look down, and people replicated it in the 80s for a while. Like it was just a weird look. The other thing about it was the fucking headset microphone bit is so dumb because he's 6 feet away. The continuity is, he's talking into the microphone before Pondo's got his headset on.
That's why it's a spoof.
It's so bad. Like it's just, wow. And to me, that's the other thing about this film. We talk about what we got from it and learned from it. And that's why we called it Pondo. I learned a lot of things from this film, like what not to do, things that I like. I like musical montages. This thing's got 20 of them, 18 of them, some shit like that.
Around 18.
18 musical montages.
Some have a little bit of dialogue. Some don't.
No wonder I like them. I like those were my favorite ones, where they cut the music in the middle and they have some dialogue, and then they bring the music back up and then they have a little more dialogue. I love that. That's my favorite.
I mean, let's talk about 26 minutes into the movie. The same scene happens. I'd sell my soul for that part. But you're like, wait a minute. This is a slightly extended version of the scene we saw at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
Wow. How many movies have you seen that show you itself twice? That's amazing.
So here's another thing. I always forget that this movie opens up on the blonde.
Oh, and it closes on her too.
And that she's the I guess the devil, the evil device, the spirit woman that's gonna make sure that he's gets what he wants and turns into the King Midas of Poontang, and yet at the same time she has a line where she's talking to other girls about him.
Does talk. Yeah.
It's weird. It's like, and she looks like my stepsister kind of weirdly, and it's always weirded me out. It's just I always forget she's in the movie. I'm like, oh, that's right. It opens with her and she's kind of this weird, she's just like, at one point she's just in the film walking towards the camera in an outfit. And then she just stops and stares at the camera and they cut away. It's
I can hear the song playing right now.
Is it She's Just a Girl?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just a girl.
I've seen the movie so many times that I can go into any point of it and, I know it in and out.
Pondo Sinatra? No.
It wasn't that bad. Let's talk about the Stern map. This is the map.
That's the Ferris Bueller reference.
To the moon and back. And I'm like, oh, this is like in the right stuff? But it turns out I think the Stern map is made up I couldn't find anything about that on Google, so I don't know if that's
Stern map.
historically accurate or not. You let us know out there, listeners.
I am a pilgrim.
Edited on videotape.
Really?
That's an interesting credit.
Fascinating.
It looked like it was film, tape, film. That's the 80s for you. I
That's
always thought
fucking
this was one
strange.
of the first direct-to-video movies, but no, this had a theatrical run somewhere. But it was one of the first movies I remember seeing the poster of in the video store. In the Safeway grocery store when they rented movies, I saw that poster. I saw that poster in every video store back then. And I just naturally thought, well, did they just make this for video? And then we started seeing made-for-video movies. So in my mind, it was always one of the first, but not really.
That's interesting because you go from 24 frames to 30 and back to 24.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about that method.
Yeah, that's
Instead,
interesting.
using the blah blah method. It's one of the things in the end credits there when the song stops playing, because the credits were longer than the music at the end, which is always kind of funny when you see a movie like that.
The montage of college girls. I was like, one of my notes is, oh, great, another montage of college girls.
Which
It's been
one?
too long. It's been too long. I don't know, whichever one. You know, like I said, it's hit him with the tits.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were actually doing the song.
It's just insane. The old hound dog's gonna eat it up. I mean, this movie, I swear, the white guy at the black party being obscenely racist and using the N-word. I mean, this movie is just hitting all the kind of trope comedy notes and making complete fun of them, like you said.
You know,
he comes home with a giant pick shoved directly into his forehead.
You know, if they had made a soundtrack, which they never did and they never will, unfortunately, but I suspect the song "Kill the White Man" probably wouldn't have been on the soundtrack.
I would suspect
might be the funniest song in the film.
And then we get the strip poker, you know, smutty Animal House gag where you dress up as a woman and you infiltrate the sorority and, you know, take off your goddamn shirt.
It's all for the gag at the, you know. Well,
and then a music montage again.
He had only one thing on his mind. He had a hard on. So you cut to that scene and you realize I like how it stops. The scene just, that's no lady, and it just stops. And you imagine that he must have gotten the living shit beat out of him. You don't see it happen.
Right.
I also like when he gets the punk makeover that, well, we got him in the costume, is how I imagine. So let's shoot a few more. It's like he's still wearing this fucking getup 3 days later or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing. They do the bullshit. That's an animal bit.
Oh, see, David Lynch is in this film too, sir. There's a little bit of Elephant Man right there. I am not an animal.
Yep. And then, of course, it's the Hunchback of Notre Dame bit. This movie is just shameless. It's like, and then of course Studley takes him to the whorehouse, and this is how dumb the movie is too. Which again, when I watch this movie, I learn things like don't do dumb shit like this.
And some of the prostitutes are the college girls.
It's the prostitutes where he just takes him to the prostitutes, and it's like, why not get him out of the Quasimodo outfit first?
Well, sir, that would be my cousin Vinny.
Because then that would work, and the movie would be over.
That would be like, I took the can of tuna fish. It's my cousin Vinny stuff where it's like, if you would just stop being ridiculous, we could get through this.
It's the same thing. It's that bad day at Black Rock dialogue I was telling you about, where it's like, I'll do it. I swear. Oh, what if you do? Well, I won't. I will. Watch me. So, you don't know what you're into. I do know what I'm into.
If they had made the party animal in the 50s, it would have been an Abbott and Costello vehicle.
Maybe.
Right? Because he's still taking them to the whorehouse with the costume on. It's the perfect type of who's on first ridiculousness. And the straight man is Bud Abbott. Oh, man, this shit writes itself. But it makes sense because we learned about the Thin Man influence on My Chauffeur. So
yeah, no, that's true.
Is there? Yeah,
we're 32 minutes into this film and there's no plot at all.
Oh yeah, the plot starts at 48 minutes in, and then it becomes a second movie.
It's like a weird character piece with a lot of racy music montages and you know, spray cheese on a Twinkie, by the way. That's the perfect metaphor for the 80s.
It's like, well, that's maybe the first thing you stop doing is the advice.
Yeah, the kids, if you want to know what the 80s were like, get a Twinkie and put spray cheese on it and eat it. And that's the 80s.
And if you want to get a date, maybe not do that.
Maybe
Or
not do
find
that.
somebody who's into that.
Exactly.
But instead, Studley just says, drugs. Women love drugs. That's great advice. You know, this is a reverse rom-com. It's a dude who can't hook up, who keeps getting bad advice from his friends.
Again, I told you that's a trope. You keep getting, the whole. Only this time, Studley actually knows what he's talking about. It's just that he can't follow the advice correctly, or he's doing it in such a fucking Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner ass type manner.
Well, see, Dillingers. It's the clothing. Clothes make the man.
Oh, I will write Willingers into Dillingers. And it's the same thing, but the drug ingestion scene is one of my favorites.
Oh, that's
It's one of my favorites. He does rolls the big old ass joint, and then he takes out a mirror and cuts cocaine with a meat cleaver. And
it's one of the best music cues in the movie, where they just drop right into the solo of Harmony in My Head, just cutting up those lines, and it's like, oh, that's whoever made these music choices. My God.
Yeah, it's really good. My God, I'm purple. He eats all that acid, and it just suddenly just recovers in 20 seconds, and he's like, mirror. And he's
it's Airplane. Yeah.
Just eating these giant bottles of pills, and Garth swallow it with some Coke, and oh my God, acid. And it's actually that candy that's on paper. It's hilarious. 40 minutes in, still no plot.
No, that happens at 48 minutes when he is almost kicked out of school, but then hears about something called an aphrodisiac.
Which means what, according to the movie?
Afro
meaning
large penis,
and disiac
from the Greek, which means want it bad.
Right. So large penis and want it bad.
Yes, you got
aphrodisiac.
it.
Yes, you got it.
We even have the crazy German professor who has one scene in the film, but is memorable because it gives Pondo the idea. It's funny watching this movie again and watching it on a TV set that's modern, where you see all the overscan. Yes. You can see Studley sitting behind Pondo in that scene now, and he's just like non-acting. He's just kind of frozen back there because you're not supposed to see him. So it's kind of neat to notice those things. Now, I prefer the open matte full frame version, but I do like the widescreen copy as well.
Full frame's the one I watched for this. The weird flicker of the black and white stock as we go into the porno store for the close-up of Pondo and the dildos is so strange. There's a weird, I think that's that's a problem with the stock of the film or the processing of it, but you'll see as you watch him go into the porno store and he's playing with the dildos on the wall.
Every copy it's been that way.
The stock changes color. That's because that's the film. That's either the film from the lab, it's bad, or they did a bad job processing it, one of the two, or they used a badly processed piece. But
yeah, it's you want to talk about that scene?
Yeah, then we get into this scene.
This scene is the origin of Clerks, people. In my mind.
Same.
The black and white scene in a sex shop happens in the middle of the movie, and you would think the weirdest scene in the movie is not Pondo in chains in the dream sequence. That's not the weirdest scene. And you would think, is it this sex shop scene where they do the on the waterfront speech talking about I could have been a contender?
America could have been somebody. Could have been a contender.
And I'm like, right back to the Before trilogy again, where On the Waterfront was always playing in the movie theaters. Oh, Richard Linklater, you're a crazy filmmaker. Yes, this movie is Raging Bull, also in black and white, which mentions I could have been a contender. For some reason, that Marlon Brando speech is in the middle of this film, where this movie just stops dead in its tracks and becomes another movie about the salt talks.
Strategic arms limitation treaties.
Yes, that's very good. But we're going to reenact this scene with dildos of the nuclear missiles until finally you're fucked.
Fucked with a big old 10-inch dildo.
Yeah, it blows my mind. It's one of the weirdest parts of the movie, but
It is.
by proxy makes these other movies Pondo movies because of the on the waterfront connection.
And so what happens, folks, is that Pondo goes to the porn store, I guess, to get himself a marital aid because he thinks that's going to help him with women.
Help. Nobody gave him this advice.
Nobody
was
gave
his
him
own volition.
He came up. This is what the guy from Alabama has come up with. And so he goes into the store, and of course, as he's shopping around, the camera is cut to the main clerk and his buddy who are behind the counter having this talk about, and of course, the joke is they're having this deep discussion about nuclear war, and they're using the dildos to represent the global thermonuclear war theater that will happen. And then Pondo comes up and he's trying to buy something, and they're like, and they immediately, I guess, smell that he's a rube because they offer him what is the biggest, stupidest fucking thing that you could ever buy, and it's a giant dildo that's like 8 feet long and has to be plugged in, and it looks like a missile, and somehow in the next scene he's convinced another girl to come back to his place, and he whips this thing out and lowers it at her.
He's Leisure Suit Larry. He always messes it up at the last second. He goes too far with it. He thinks he has to go over the top. He can't just, be normal. We wouldn't have a movie. But then that thing shorted out half the campus last night. And so that's one of the final straws to kick him out while he's creating the aphrodisiac and then discovers it. And so while he's trying to semi-roofie all of these people on dates,
he's got a spray, he's got pills, he's got what else?
It's one of my favorite parts of the movie is blink and you'll miss the Metaluna mutant from this island Earth. Pondo has turned somebody into a version of the Metaluna mutant.
That's right.
And he also turns a woman into a gorilla. This movie is another one of the fine tradition of crazy gorilla films. This is a movie that features a person in a gorilla suit doing goofy shit. I didn't even realize that.
One of them is a smoking corpse. Another one is bald. Another one has a beard. I mean, he's really gone through the campus and done some serious fucking damage.
And then when one of them is dead on the Metaluna mutant, that's when he's like, "Oh,
oh man, I really messed that up."
But then he makes up for it by roofying himself, becoming a party animal, where he's the King Midas, where every woman cannot leave him alone, which leads to his demise. Because karma, the whole movie is about karma, as Elbow the Sage likes to tell.
Korma. It's that's the other thing too that kind of, I think I've said this to you the entire time we've known each other. All the other times he's using a spray, he's using pills, he's using something that he can control and repeat. But when he finally figures it out and it's working, and he knows it's working, he just drinks all of it. He just dumps it all over himself rather than kind of bottle it up and spray it when he needs it so he can live a normal life because he's an idiot.
He came to the college on the back of a turnip truck. That's the truth. But the thing is, my headcanon, well, he was a, 6-year senior or whatever it was?
6-year senior.
Apparently he's good at chemistry because when the second movie kicks in and he is suddenly a mad scientist and he can make aerosol cans, and somebody's funding all this shit.
Then at the end, where he's got a bus tub from a restaurant and he's just dumping used chemicals into it. I'm like, oh, that's safe. I'm sure that's the right way to do it.
It's just all here you go, clean it up.
Yeah, splash, splash, splash. Let's just put all these chemicals together, and that won't blow up.
That's what did it, though. That was the winning combination.
It's a weird movie full of weird choices. At one point when she's farting in the car, rather than roll down a window, he keeps opening the door to fan it. And it's just like, dude, just roll the window down.
If you don't like fart scenes, there's a scene towards the end of the movie it's got to be like 5 minutes long of just, if you're 10 years old, you're going to be in tears. And I just hear Charlie at the comic book shop saying, "It's not really my kind of comedy, guys." And then we I'm thinking it must have been somewhat inspired by this, but even as dumb as it is, it's still funny because, like, and she's like, ah, and all the
Mhm.
little, yeah, it's stupid, but they're having fun with it.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's a bunch of skits wrapped up in a silly metaphor. Miranda, oh, she's Fate, the girl in white. The blonde in white, and it's a, it's a. I give Beard credit. He didn't Bob Clark it, right? Like he leaned into kind of like making it as sort of satirically stupid as he
Mhm.
could and doing a lot of silly shit stuff that, again, if you're 10 years old you'll find funny, and then later on in life maybe you'll realize, like we do, like, oh, it's more like kind of making fun of the metaphor than it is
Yeah,
actually trying to reproduce it.
yeah.
Although, again, I sound like I'm trying to defend the film. I'm not. I've loved it for a long, long time, and I always get a laugh out of it. My wife thinks it's the stupidest thing she's ever seen.
Well, it is. That's what
That's part of the best
weird
part about
appeal
it.
is. Like,
Yeah.
how did this? Well, besides the obvious, you go deeper and you go, it's just
Yep.
so perfectly, almost like remedial or simplified, right? Because it's like the Ramones of sex comedies. It's just a
Yeah.
simple 1, 2, 3, 4. Da, da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. It's just the
Yeah.
joke at its most
Yes.
core, and
Yeah, it's like the
because it's at its
Stooges
most
did a sex
core,
comedy.
it
Yeah.
can be its most pure form. So that's why I've always registered it as the ultimate, because it's kind of putting a cap on that genre. After 84, we didn't really get a lot of raunchy ones. It kind of run
Not
its
like that.
course.
No.
And this kind
Yeah.
of is like, well, we're making fun of it and put a cap on it. Good night.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they had that whole kind of, and yeah, you can point out others. You can point out the American Pies and the,
That's the
things
rebirth.
like that.
Yeah.
But,
But
it
that's all
had a
because of
run.
Porky's, though. Yeah.
That type of film had a run of about 6 years, and then it was over.
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6 years, and it was over. And then it popped back up with American Wedding, and you had some National
Mm-hmm.
Lampoon, Van Wilder type stuff.
And then
But
the
then it's
internet
died. It's
happened.
also died out again.
Oh, it's because the internet. People just go straight to porn. They don't have goofy
Yeah.
movies to.
Yeah. I hear you.
Speaking of it being a bunch of skits, our first attempt at a movie was trying to remake this film. And what we did is we took a couple of scenes from it and shot those, and the rest were the skits we made up. There's
Right.
no copy, thank God,
Yeah.
probably. But that's what we were. And it's like, well, shit, we can just do that. I remember
Yeah.
doing the porn shop scene.
Yes.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But it was, we were using like cardboard tubes instead of
Yes.
dildos. So people would not have known what the fuck we were even doing if we'd actually
Right.
put the thing out. I just
Yeah.
thought about that, like, but we were learning, right? We didn't care. We just wanted to shoot a skit and get some camera.
Exactly.
And so for that alone, it was worth the process.
We needed an idea to shoot. At that
Yeah.
point, what we were doing was trying to figure out cameras and angles and audios and how to edit and put things together and tell story. And so we just needed something. And the idea was, okay, well, let's steal the couple scenes from the party animal, and then we'll write our own material, and there'll be all a bunch of shorts, and we'll tie them together by making it look like somebody's flipping through the cable channels and watching TV, right?
Like a Kentucky Fried movie.
Kind of like a Kentucky Fried Movie groove tube type of thing, exactly. Mm-hmm. And so we mixed all that together, trying to at least come up with a concept, because again, it was we just weren't ready to write things at that point.
Right.
I mean, shit, we even wrote Steven Spielberg and asked him if we could make,
Stephen King.
Or Stephen King, sorry, and asked him if we could make, was it Rage, if I'm not mistaken?
Rage, yeah. When Rage was still in print. And
Yep.
it's funny now is our friend Richard Chomps Thompson, who was on the show.
I saw that. He made a little short.
He made a Stephen King short.
Yeah, good for him.
And he knows dude over at the soundstage, so
yeah. Yee.
Anyway.
More to follow on that, folks.
Yeah, because we tried to make Stephen King short movie before they had the Stephen King short film thing. So that was like 1990, but he wrote you back, and it was really cool.
Yeah, he did write me back, and it was really nice. I mean, he basically said, "Thanks for asking before just going into production, because most of the time I hear about my books are being turned into movies after the fact. Basically, once they're already in production, they'll tell me." And then he told me he couldn't give me the rights to it because he'd already sold them.
Right.
So,
and There will never be a movie of Rage because that book is out of print because of Columbine.
That's right.
Uh,
You got anything else?
oh yeah. So the first time I saw this was my brother-in-law Eddie, as mentioned on the Fast Times episode, the guy who rented that movie, and I said it's going to be on cable next month, and he's like, I rented it for you, and I felt so bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he came home one day with this movie, and we didn't know what it was, and we were just like, just blown away at because it's so dumb that you laugh harder in parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the first time seeing this when you're like 10 or 11,
Yeah.
it's mind boggling. And what always stood out to me was the music, because I was just hearing pop on the radio. It was not easy for me to hear any
This is considered more
remotely
college
alt
radio. Yeah.
college punk, any of that shit. So I'm hearing all that Buzzcocks and these other bands that I'll touch on here in a second, and just like, why isn't that on the radio? These just as good as anything else. And then so this movie helps introduce me into a punk music a little more. It's funny because just a few years before this, Jeff is getting hit in the head with a shoe at a Buzzcocks concert. We don't even know him yet. We're watching this. He's working on Garbage Pail Kids. And eventually we all come together. It's really fucking crazy. So what else here? Over time, the opinion of this movie has gotten better. When it was new, you'd always get a turkey or a bomb in the movie books. And you look now, and it has a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 54 audience score. So people have
I think people get
warmed
it.
up to this now. They figured it
Well,
out.
I think you're right. I mean, I think people get what we're talking about with it. Where again, it only seems like it's raunchy because of what it's saying and kind of doing at times,
Mm-hmm.
but the nudity is mild in comparison. Like,
Really
yeah,
is.
there's a point at one point where Pondo's got a gun in his mouth, and Studley and his two girlfriends are begging him to stop, and he finally
That's
goes,
rough.
"Yeah," and then he drops the gun and shoots one of the girls, and she rolls off the bed. And he goes, "Shit, Studley, I'm sorry." And what does Studley do? He goes, "Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Like, it's
all
not a
right.
big deal. You just shot this girl, right?" Like, so there's a level of kind of ridiculous raunch and stupidity going on that I think even amplifies the nudity to
Yeah.
a certain extent.
Where your jaw goes, what?
Yeah, what the
It's kind of
fuck?
like a scary movie or a Naked Gun with that, where
Mhm.
you're like, they're not trying to be blatantly offensive. It's kind of like that's so offensive that it's gone beyond, and it's funny because it's
Right.
the folly of men and women is how I look at it. What else do we have? Okay, let's do the soundtrack. Okay, so
Soundtrack's killer.
soundtrack is killer. I mean, we got several Buzzcock songs. I finally got to see them last year, and they did play "Why Can't I Touch It," which was awesome. They also did "Harmony in My Head" and "I Don't Mind." No, everybody's happy nowadays at my show, but hey, 3 out of 4 is pretty damn good. I remember going and buying that CD of Singles Going Steady, because I finally found it in '93 of all things, and we would listen to it, and everybody would be like, "What the fuck is this?" I'm like, "It's Buzzcocks," and we listened to the whole album, and got into more of that. There's a Concrete Blonde song on this, but they were called
It's
Dream
called Rain.
Six.
Rain Six, isn't it? Or no, Dream Six. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dream
and
Six.
I guess it was an early version of them, and then Concrete Blonde does the song "Rain" on one of their later albums. It's a more fleshed out version, but we found the Dream Six version of the song like on one of the earliest versions of Amazon Music nearly 20 years ago, when you could
Yeah, I
first
have a
download
copy.
music.
It's
How
very
the fuck
nice.
we did a
Yes.
search for that, I don't know, but
I
we
don't
found it
know.
somehow. It's very
Yep.
cool. The Flesh Tones have a couple of songs on this.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
guess they're a genre called super rock that I was unaware of. It's not quite ska like the Untouchables, another great band in the movie, who are also in Repo Man, one of our first films. See, it has an Alex Cox connection as well. There's
You got Gazmo doing Go Mental. You got the Convertibles doing
oh
She's Just a
yeah,
Girl.
those are the more like I wonder if those were local or were they signed to IRS, because we can't find
I don't
those
know. Can't
songs.
find those at all. Yeah.
But it
One
leads.
of the
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh, go.
Well, I was just going to say one of the things I wanted to talk about was the Kill the White Man.
That's written by the fucking guy who wrote the movie.
John Michael Michinode. And in fact, his IMDb, he produced 52 movies, and he was an actor in 29. He was a child actor who moved into producing later on in life. He was in shit in 1964, 65. He was on doing television, Combat, Rat Patrol.
Wow.
Virginian. He was on an episode of The Odd Couple in 72.
Bad Day at Black Rock.
No. But somehow he ended up being a line producer for a lot of behind the scenes stuff, like Secrets of the Back to the Future trilogy, Star Trek: A Captain's Log, William Shatner's Star Trek Memories, Cheers: Last Call, Bob Hope Newhart 19th Anniversary Special. Like, he did a lot of stuff like that, and then at some point, and that he did that into the 2000s, I guess. But at some point, he writes this film.
Oh, I thought David Beard wrote that song.
No, "Kill the White Man" is written and performed by him by Gerald Michinode. Yeah,
okay.
along with "They Don't Like My Clothes." David
Clothes.
Beard wrote the lyrics with him.
That's
yes.
right. Okay,
but he performed it and wrote the lyrics too. So it's I just looked him up and I was like, okay, so here's the guy who's kind of, I in my opinion, probably teaming up with David to get everything done. Mm-hmm. Right? Because he has a lot of experience making mm-hmm. pictures and being on stuff. So I don't know. It seemed like, because when you look at everybody else's credits, they have no fucking idea what they're doing for the mm-hmm. most part. Which it's all early in their careers.
Which leads us to the strangest soundtrack selection. Okay, this is a task if you're willing to accept it, listeners. Find us the UK version of this film. Find us the UK version of The Party Animal. Why? Because apparently that is the version that has the song by REM in it. Radio Free Europe is in the credits, but it is not in the movie. Now, throughout the years, doing various research on this film, I have concluded that it is in the European cut of the film during the male stripper sequence in the beginning of the movie, which I can't quite picture, but I do want to see what that looks and sounds like. So if somebody can find that copy out there, we'd be very, very pleased.
So do we lose what song is that being played?
Well, they're playing Roman Gods yet again.
Roman Gods, yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
That gets repeated several times throughout the film, so I guess for whatever reason.
So this cinematographer did Weekend Pass, Young Lady Chatterley 2, Hunk, Cheerleader Camp, and then moved into a horror, basically. And Wicked Stepmother. He shot Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh yeah, it's Brian England. Yeah, I was going to talk about him. It's funny that you mentioned Weekend Pass because Peter Deming worked on that film too, right before this one.
Yeah,
and it's worth a look. Weekend Pass. Blinking, you'll miss Phil Hartman in that movie. That's about sailors trying to get laid for the weekend.
Probably how Deming got his job too.
I'm thinking, yeah. So those are probably movies early in his career he probably wouldn't want to talk about, but he has not met us yet. Speaking of Deming, I don't know if this is one of his shots, but I think the best shot in the movie is when Pondo's full riz happens. Now, you know what I'm talking about when he says, "Hey, girly, over here." And it's that one long shot. Girl, that Pondo, that girl's half a mile away. And it's just that single shot of her running across the field, slowly getting undressed until she runs right into Pondo. And then you see that shot of suddenly like, oh, like even he's surprised by, the magnetism. But I was like, that's a good oneer. And the song is perfect over it,
I like my other favorite part of that is where they just cut to him and he's standing there with his scarf and he looks like Napoleon kind of.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got that stance.
Weird shots like that.
Got weird shots like that. It does. It's a strange fucking movie.
Do you ever get laid? All the time.
All the time. I'm sure people from Alabama get laid.
So Timothy Carhart is in this movie. He plays Studley.
Yeah. We tracked his career throughout the 80s and 90s.
Most of you know him as the was it the Stiff in Ghostbusters? What do they call him? He's Sigourney Weaver's other boyfriend from
Yeah, the other cellist.
from
Yeah.
the cellist, and you see him doing the nasal spray.
Yep.
Yeah, but we also see him in things like The Hunt for Red October,
Yep.
and Thelma and
He was
Louise is a big one for him.
Marg Helgenberger's husband in CSI for the first 2 or 3 seasons, I think, and then they killed him
Ah.
off.
And he was also in things like Candyman Part 2, so he's got enough horror cred that I'm still hoping one day
That would be great.
show up at a con somewhere, which leads us to Leland Crook, who played the gay secretary. Now,
He was in a
this
bunch
guy's
of
got a
stuff.
huge career as well. He's done a ton of TV. If it was a show in the 90s or the aughts, he was probably in it.
Yep.
All right, everything from Charmed to...
oh, shit, he's in Yellowstone. I just looked him up.
yeah, he's still going.
Timothy Carhart is,
Oh, well, see, it all ties back to this earlier this afternoon.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah, Leland worked really well, and I think he did a lot of he did some sci-fi, right?
I think he's a Star Trek guy too.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, the Kevin Bacon game is strong with this one.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think the weirdest part of this weird movie, it's the dream sequence where Pondo's singing the song about being a party animal. The lead character of the movie
weird.
is having a dream where he is singing the theme song about himself from the movie. Very fucking weird. I was like, okay, that's the weirdest part.
To me, the other weird part is that whole series when he finally gets his, like you said, he gets his Riz and he's in that weird tiger jacket and those girls are all spinning around in front of him and looking at each other and looking at him, and it was just like, this is such a weird
That's the Concrete Blonde song.
Yep. It's a great tune.
Oh, I know I got some more notes here. You know, I saw this on the movie channel in the mid-'80s. At least more than once. So this was on cable for a short time. I remember watching this at my dad's place, strangely enough.
Yeah, I never caught it until you gave me a VHS tape of it, and I watched it obsessively for quite a while.
I have a memory of that rabbit with the Confederate flag on it at the end. And we did the soundtrack. We did the first year I saw it. The credits say 83. IMDb says 84. Who the fuck really knows anymore at this point?
Well, it could have been released late 83. It could have been like Star Wars. You know, I remember seeing Star Wars in 78, not 77.
This movie is not streaming as of the time of this recording. You can only get it on an out-of-print DVD. That's like $30 or $40.
Good Lord. Really?
Do not watch this film on YouTube because last time I checked, the songs are missing.
Oh.
So what's the point? If you've only ever seen this movie on YouTube, then you have not seen the film. If it has the songs missing, I believe, because somebody put it up there in like 8 chunks ages ago, back when YouTube was 10-minute limit on the video.
Like and subscribe.
If you want to, you can grab a VHS tape off of Amazon for $40.
Hey,
but
right
a DVD
on,
will cost you $14.95.
Get that DVD because those tapes are pretty chewed up at this point. Not because of the dirty scenes, just because of the tape's fucking old. Yeah, I think I might have.
Did you run out of stuff?
Everything. I might have covered everything here. Yeah.
I think I've said everything I need to say about this movie, other than, I think the biggest part of this movie is that you and I bonded over it.
Yeah.
That it seemed to kind of, both of us found it so ridiculously funny, and so nobody else knew about this movie. We were the only people that knew about this movie, and in high school we ended up being those people that only knew about certain films that we watched. Nobody had seen things like Basket Case or Frankenhooker or Party Animal or some of these other films that we were watching.
I considered it a cult movie, even though it was a cult of 2.
Yeah. I mean, in high school they were watching, Twin Peaks and oohing and eyeing over that, and you and I are in the corner with our fucking Party Animal giggling our asses off.
And who was in both? David Lynch.
David Lynch.
Who passed away this year, but he's still with us every day, guys, in little ways. You look, and then there's David Lynch hiding around the corner. I am not an animal. Bullshit, that's an animal. And that's the whole movie in a nutshell.
I struggle with the score. I want to avoid being nostalgic about it and score it on its merits, which I have done kind of mercilessly throughout this entire podcast.
Like the score is the best part, the music. I'm like, oh, you're
scores.
talking about the score.
No, score the film. But I'm gonna go 3.5 stars again. I think. I reserve my right to go up or down based upon my thoughts on it, but I just watched it about 4 days ago, and I'm still I don't watch it that often anymore.
Yeah.
But every time I do, I really enjoy it. And I forget why I liked it so much every time which I like. I go far enough away from it that when I come back, I'm like, oh, I like that. That's right. I really like this movie. But I can't say it's a cinematic masterpiece. I can't say that it's the most beautifully lit or the most beautifully shot movie. It's competent. It's funny. It's really dumb and stupid. And I really like it. Yeah. Nostalgia wise, like 10 stars, like, a gentleman's 20. It's a ridiculous amount on nostalgia.
I stood up and applauded the TV after it was over. Why did we used to call our company Pondo's Children Productions? Well,
because we were, yeah.
Well, you tell them.
We were the children of Pondo.
That's right.
We believed that we were the direct descendants of Pondo Sinatra and his mania, his goof. We loved how goofy of a character he was. Like like I said, his whole like, I'm Pilgrim, and all the ridiculous antics, and all the stupid shit. Like we loved his character and we loved the film, and so we just felt like we were the children of the film. Fertile Delta, the bearded clam, the holy spot. He's an idiot.
So we did.
Don't whine.
Give her the champagne. We did our second episode of our public access show.
Yes.
And our director at the time came out and said, "What do you want to call your company name? We need something to write, copyright 1990." And then, of course, I say Pondo because I have it on the brain at the time. And then Cliff says children. And then it became Pondo's Children, much like how Cliff said. Now, another weird anecdote to this is when we tried to make that remake of The Party Animal, we also attempted to write a sequel to the screenplay, which didn't go very far. It's fanfic before fanfic had a name.
True.
But it was about Pondo's child. So Pondo's Children. And then years later, we start making movies for realsies, not doing the access thing as much anymore. We're not minors anymore. And then we put out a call for auditions for one of our films for Pondo's Children Productions. And guess what? People thought we were making kids' movie.
That's right.
We realized we had to change the name of our company. And then it was like, well, what are we going to change it to? And, well, we had a Pondo Pictures was floating around for a little bit. We used it on Marijuanos. But we settled on what Cliff came up with. Enterprises. And Pondo Enterprises, it has been ever since. So now you know the rest of the story.
Thank you, Paul Harvey.
5 stars. For me to say anything under that is
he's
not
like,
being
fucking
true to myself.
Nostalgia be damned. 5 stars.
And it's much like
I
Mixed
almost
Nuts.
went 4.
And Mixed Nuts, it's a half on the other end because it's terrible, but that's why.
Yeah.
It's the alpha and the omega. And then we never got to meet David Beard, unfortunately.
The beginning and the end. I would have loved to have met him. I would have loved to tell him I'm a big fan of his film.
He would have thought we were nuts, I'm sure. But we did get to meet Deborah Foreman, who was in My Chauffeur, which we covered last year from the same director. And we got to talk a little bit about David Beard with her. So that was very cool.
Yeah. I think she was shocked that we didn't want to talk about Valley Girl or any of the other stuff that she was in. And I can't believe we didn't talk to her about Real Genius. I'm still killing myself over that one.
You get me started on what I didn't ask E.G. Daily about.
I was so focused on her being in My Chauffeur and it being a David Beard film that I just couldn't think of anything else.
That was pretty wild.
Yep.
But so next episode is 2 years of us doing the show.
Good Lord.
It's our 2-year anniversary episode of the first one released. And so I've been having some special things planned for episodes that movies talk about before 100, or like the party animal start the year with. And so there was really only one left that I had in my back pocket for the 2-year anniversary show. Everything else is kind of like, I'll just figure it out as I go.
Bring it on.
And so your movie next week for the 2-year anniversary is the first movie we went to go see at the movie theater together to review for the
Teenage
school paper.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990. I figured that would be very fitting for an anniversary show. I haven't seen it in a while. Got a good high-def copy, so I always liked the grittiness of that one, the way it looked. So,
okay, well, that's interesting. I have a lot of films listed here that I could go through. I'm just not sure what I want to give you at this point. I'm not really on any kind of thematic thing.
Yeah.
I know we're at that 200 mark though, and so it might be fun to give you something kind of weird.
Yeah, season's wrapping up. Yeah.
But I think I'm going to spare you, and I'm going to do something a little different. And and I'm going to give you a film. So I got one theme to wrap up. Okay. You've seen 2 of these already, and it's time for the third one. And it's time to finish it up. And it's his Modern West trilogy. We just talked to an actress and interviewed her that will pop up later on one of our episodes. The guy who made Yellowstone. We're going to watch Wind River.
Wind River. Okay, because I told you there better be a bank. I am very curious.
So there you go. Wind River. We'll see if there's a bank in it.
Yeah, or a turtle.
Holy moly, this thing's been running. Normally we have a guest and we run this long.
Yeah, well,
This is an important film, though.
It's our own
to us.
Criterion
Culture. This is our this is our Lawrence of Arabia. in the non-way, in the most weird way. Anyway, you want to get out of here on a quote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want the M5.
That's if I give a movie a 5, you see. He had a one-track mind. He was obsessed.
My headphones are out. Later. Don't miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, like us on YouTube, or give us a 5-star rating on the podcast app of your choice.